Sometimes I look at my phone and I get a text from Jack over at CBSI and he says, "Hey, Tom, I got a new video for you to make." Let's jump into it. All right. So we cover the hot 10 list for CBSI,
We do.
comicbookinvest.com.
Yep.
Great list. But comic books, the art of the trade, the buy, the selling, it has its ebbs and flows, doesn't it, Russ?
It absolutely does. And as you know, we do a lot of work with these books that are being speculated on, things that are spiking, things that are moving up this week. And we are already going back and looking at a lot of the stuff that Tom and I have done over the last 9 months and noticing that things that used to be hot, maybe not anymore.
This is the not hot 10 list. These are books that took a bath. These are books that just tanked, ones that spiked and now are evening out.
Yes, but understand that even though these books have made the not 10 list, this may be a great opportunity to pick this up if this is something that you really wanted last year but couldn't afford. This is a great opportunity to get in at some of these books because some of them may be going back up, and especially if you really liked the cover artist, really like the content, it's just a good time to jump in.
We're talking significant price drops. Let's start it out here at number 10. We got Rags number 1. This is the Tim Lim variant, and this is a Patreon variant that the Rags team put out that was specifically for the patron members. And this is actually the only comic book from the run that was uncensored. And it caused some confusion in the industry, especially when they put that Patreon back to market. So because of that, we saw this book actually hit the market strong at peaking right around $500.
Wow.
And then when we found out that print count was subject to controversy, dropping that book down to a $50 book.
Yes, we did see a lot of controversy about this Rags, and while we do like the story, and Tom did have a good opportunity to make some content about this, you can actually check that out. There will be a link up in the corner below.
Writers and artists joined us in that video.
It was very, very cool for them to come in and kind of clarify where the situation was, but understand when you tell people that it has a specific number and you find out it doesn't have a specific number, those prices are going to drop.
What do we got here at number 9, Russ?
Number 9, we have a super cool book. I really, really dug this book, and I even found one in my back issue recently. Superman Adventures number 5, first appearance of Livewire. Livewire was supposed to be the next Harley Quinn, and it was very cool that she showed up in a Superman Adventures book. It felt very cartoony, very kid-friendly. This peaked at $300 for a 9.8, and now you can get one for just around $100, and raw, they're even less than that.
That's right. This book spiked hard. You actually still see this at conventions listed much higher than this. So unfortunately, I think a lot of people were thinking that because it was a kid's book, because it's a strong female villain, maybe this has some potential similar to Harley Quinn.
Right.
It's not looking like it.
No, it's really, really not. And understand that it's going to take a little while for the market to correct itself, but this is not the next Batman Adventures 12. Even if you do like Livewire, she is a very cool character, and this is a very, very cool book. But yeah, this is not going to echo what's happening with the Harley Quinn book right now.
But 9.8s out of 100, that is attainable and affordable. All right, coming in at number 8, we have Infinity Countdown number 1, the Adi Granhob Virgin variant. Now, this was seeing spikes at the 9.8 marker, right around 150 to 175. This has taken a huge plummet, mostly because we saw Unknown Comics put a bunch of these on the shelves after they were supposedly sold out. You got to remember that there are dealers, there are stores that buy a lot of these comics. And just because they seem to be sold out online doesn't mean that there aren't sellers waiting to put them on the market, which caused this book to drop to $40.
Well, I know that when Marvel gets shop exclusive and DC gets shop exclusive, it's kind of a different thing about getting a Virgin variant. But a lot of times when you get these variants and all of a sudden you buy 3,000 of this Virgin cover and 1,500 of this black and white Virgin cover, you might just list 100 or 1,000 or 1,500 on your website and then end up going, oh, I found another box that we forgot we had, and that could make the market tank. Relative scarcity doesn't necessarily mean it's expensive.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Okay, let's move on to number 7, Russ, because we had, I think, one of the larger, most, impactful Spider-Man storylines hit last year.
Yes, Tom, we have ASM 797 coming in at number 7, the Mike Mayhew variant. And this is such a cool homage variant, and Red Goblin was so hot last year.
Awesome cover.
I remember that when we had the first appearance of Red Goblin come in, and I shot you cell phone photos of the panels early so we could hit it on Instagram and let people know what it was and where he was and how cool the thing was. And some of these variants were great. This was selling in a 9.8 for $500 last spring.
Remember that?
I do.
$500. That hit so strong.
And CBSI had told us to be careful of this book, and a lot of people thought that Red Goblin was going to happen, but we all knew that the series was ending soon. It was going to get rebooted in a few months, and we didn't really know what Dan Slott was going to be doing with this. So Red Goblin is a cool character. I liked the Alex Ross covers. The Mike Mayhew variant, very, very cool. But even now, with as scarce as it was, 9.8s are $200. You know, a full 60% down from its peak.
Cool character, but one that I think had a lot of hype when it came out and just not a whole lot went into this new year. All right, let's take a look at number 6 on the list here because we have one of my personal favorites, one of my favorite Batman stories to date, and I think it's going to be one of the personal favorites of the community. Batman number 1, New 52, Capullo, Snyder, goodness. This is a run that had some staying power. For a long time, you could be getting number 1s above 50, near mints pushing 100 for years. Good luck finding this book rated at 9.8 at shows below $250 for almost a decade now. All right. This book seeing some significant price drops, and I think it's because just over time, we have other Batman stories that are the focus of collectors.
I did notice this a couple years ago, and the 9.8s were still kind of strong. I think the market has finally adjusted to where it needs to be. Selling raw, we could get between $100 and $150 raw for a first print at Emerald City on the Floor 3 or 4 years ago. So we know that this was still a hot book. When they rebooted Rebirth, all of a sudden, New 52's done. Snyder Capullo did a fantastic job. Court of Owls is still one of the best Batman stories of all time. It's a pinnacle, but they've reprinted it in trade paperback a lot. And when you reboot a whole generation and go, oh, we're going to reboot the universe again, and then we're going to reboot the universe again, well, a lot of these things start to slip down. So when people were looking for it when New 52 was out, number 1 was important, but they ended the run at 52. So the whole run's going to take kind of a dump.
That's right. And you have a 5th print blue variant that's actually going for way more than a number 1 9.6. 9.6 are going for under $50 right now.
Second print variants were given away for free at Emerald City in 2011. We know that the first prints had been sold, and then they just were handing them out at the DC booth. You want a second print Batman number 1? Here, take this. So I have a ton of people that I know that have come in with a free second print that they got from the DC booth.
Let's take a look at some honorable mentions, Russ, because we got 2 awesome books here. We have 2 really, really, really cool books. One that's on my hunt list that I may be adding to my hunt list after seeing it here. We have Saga number 1, the retailer incentive variant. This is the first time that I've seen this book drop since it came out.
I know.
That's the big deal. This book was a $3,000 book at 9.8.
Yeah, this is one of those that every time I see this book, I'm like, I would like that. I will never own this book. You know, and now I'm at the point where I'm looking at this Saga number 1 retailer incentive variant going, it's that cheap?
$2K, man. It's dropped. $2K sounds like a lot, but this is the rarest Saga comic book. This is one of the best comic book stories that's come out in the last decade. And they're on hiatus. So this isn't because the market is finished with Saga. It isn't because it was optioned and now it's not happening. We don't have option news. No, this is like Why the Last Man status. This is a story that the community loves. This is just a very expensive book that people are not looking at right now. Great time to invest.
It really is. Brian and Fiona decided they're going to take at least a year off. And I just want to share, I was doing my orders this last month, and on the Diamond orders, you can actually see what numbers you order of a previous issue. So I'm going through and I was ordering Walking Dead. And Walking Dead, I could go through and see Volume 1, I had ordered 25 copies. Volume 2, I had ordered 27 copies. Volume 3. When I got to ordering Saga, I have ordered 128 copies of Saga Volume 1. Hands down, the number 1 thing that I have ordered in my entire shop the entire time I've been there. More than the Batman Court of Owls, more than any Harley Quinn, more than any Deadpool, more than any Walking Dead.
Preach.
Hands down. If you are not reading Saga, get into it. Seriously, I know they're taking a break, but really it is one of the best things I have ever ever read, and it sells like nobody's business. I cannot tell you. So if you're not reading it, sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
Good.
But absolutely, the number one thing I have sold at my shop the entire time my shop has been open is Saga Volume 1, and it just flies off the shelf. I can't keep it in stock.
All right, this next book on the list, we have Star Wars #1. Star Wars is not stopping.
No.
This isn't going away, but this #1 issue at 9.8 has seen some changes. We have a 9.8 being recorded over a year ago that were peaking right around $1,500. And for a Star Wars comic, you think, all right, that's above $1,000, right? 9.8, that seems right. It's dropped below $1,000. $800 we're seeing 9.8s, and it's because there's a large number of these. A lot of these hit the census.
That's what I think a lot of it is, that it's a book from 1977, but it was really hot when it came out, and you're going to see that people did just have a bunch of them and put them in a box.
Of friends of ours who probably graded 20 of these in the last year.
I can probably name 3 friends off the top of my head who I know have done exactly that thing. And if it comes back in a 9.8, right?
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, so honorable mentions. Awesome. But we have to jump right back into this list of the not 10, because what do we have at number 5?
Number 5, it's one of my favorite pocket games ever. I'm being really sarcastic. Do you guys remember Tsum Tsums? Because Tom didn't.
I had no idea what this was.
And I barely...
Break it down, because you're about to blow some minds with the numbers you found.
Okay, so Tsum Tsums, it's kind of like a bubble popping game, and these little like pill bubble things, and they had Disney of them, but they had a Marvel version where you could have these little Marvel Tsum Tsum characters that kind of, oh my god, I know. So it was a 4-part miniseries that was based on like a phone game.
They made comics of this.
Yes, they made a 4-part miniseries of this. So Marvel Tsum Tsum, Marvel Tsum Tsum number 4, Dave Johnson, the 1 in 25 variant. And there had been multiple sales in 9.8 at above $1,200.
Wait. Okay, hold up. Marvel Tsum Tsum, number 4.
Right.
Variant for 125 variant.
Right.
For over $1,000. Okay, explain that.
Right. So
that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Someone paid over $1,000 for this. And this feels very much like a Beanie Baby type thing. Like, we're going to capitalize on the Tsum Tsum thing. It dropped to under 500 for a 9.8 and a 9.6 raw for under 200. Now, I looked at the Comicron census for this.
Over half?
Yes. I looked at the Comicron census for this, and in November 2016, it was number 242. The main cover was number 242 out of 316 selling books for November of 2016.
Okay, no one ordered it.
There were 6,846 of the main cover available. So
no one ordered them. Okay.
Right. So less than 7,000 were printed of the main cover. If every single shop ordered in a multiple of 25, there is only possibly 273 of this book.
Wait. If every store ordered 25 of Marvel Tsum Tsum.
Right. There would only be 273. So we know there weren't.
Oh, man, there's got to be under 70 of these issues?
There might be 50 copies of it, and I'm fairly certain 25 of them went to Midtown. I mean, like, it's one of those things that there are not that many places that have them. So we know it's a really, really scarce, but scarce does not mean expensive.
Interesting stuff. Okay, well, that's a good one to like have in the Rolodex of covers, because that's going to be missed. But yeah, don't spend that much money on a scarce book.
Right.
I mean, right now, we're looking at Spawn right now, a circulated copy that has an error,
right?
But it's not really an error. And because it's of its scarcity, it's selling for more money, but it's technically not rare. Interesting. Right. I don't know. Let the community decide. We want to know about what you think about the Marvel Tsum Tsum and these types of variants. Let us know in the comment section below. But let's move on to number 4, because we have Fantastic Four 45, the first appearance of the Inhumans making the list. Unfortunately, this was a team of superheroes that Marvel was putting a whole lot of money into. They were backing this. They had shoots out in Hawaii. They were like other Game of Thrones characters that were going to be introduced in the Marvel Universe. They were telling celebrities, you guys are going to be the next Star-Lord. And then they basically made a TNT drama and no one watched it.
It was really bad. I mean, I don't even want to pull punches right here. I mean, it was just bad. It was not watchable. It was not good. They couldn't find a way to CG hair properly on Medusa. I mean, Lockjaw was the best part of the whole damn thing. I
remember at C2E2, they were like, be ready, because Lockjaw is the next Rocket Raccoon.
That's right. You were there.
I was there
at
when they showed it. Yeah, they had like the security
I got
looking
tickets for that. Yeah,
they had like the security looking for the cell phones because we were gonna see this. Like they're like, oh, Marvel's gonna show you the Inhumans. You're gonna blow your mind. And it was like watching something on CBS. It's like Modern Family, but Inhumans.
Right.
And
with no special effects and nothing had been done. And
my goodness. It was terrible. But all right, FF45, Kirby Goodness. This is a classic key. 2000 to 2015, we saw this book at its height, selling for amounts that we had never seen before. 6 O's are going for $200 now.
And 45 and 46, which is first appearance of Inhumans and first cover appearance of Black Bolt. Those were really, really hot books. And you and I have talked about the Fantastic Four run, how the Silver Surfers have always been hot. Inhumans spiked, Black Panther spiked. Well, you know what's gone down? Inhumans. You know what hasn't? Black Panther.
You know what else has gone down? Number 3 on the list, we have Invincible Iron Man number 10, the Salvador La Roca variant. First appearance of Pepper as Rescue.
Now, this book was really, really hot. And I remember that we found the main cover, and then there was the mask cover, and then there was the hidden cover, and there was like the Tony face, and there was the not Tony face, and there was all something. It was just spike. And is Rescue to be in the next movie, and what's going to happen with Pepper Potts, and blah, 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 blah.
And we have confirmed that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like we're seeing her in that. And the community went nuts.
Yeah.
It's a good example of a dollar bin. When a book is so cheap and so attainable, where you have to be a little careful because you got to flip fast because that's what people are doing. If you're looking to make money off the book, if you're looking to capitalize on that hype, because the community has dropped the book again.
Now, the 9.8 was spiking to $300, and now it's in the $125 range.
It's half, man.
Well, yeah, and I understand, and you and I, you've both talked about this. There are a lot of people out there who, yes, they are flippers. We understand that, but most of the people who are watching the show, they like to find a book, hold on to a book, and have it a long-term investment. So be careful when you see these quick spikes because you may end up holding onto a book. As I keep telling everyone, buy what you love and you'll never dislike your collection.
Absolutely.
You'll always enjoy yourself. So
yeah. You have to like really, I mean, this is one of those moments where you have to like, as a collector, it's your gut feeling. Do you think that this is a hero, like legitimately, that's going to hit the screen, that's going to cause people to want to go and buy multiple comics of their appearance? Is this going to cause an animated film to happen? Is this character going to cause toy and action figures? Is this character going to cause kids to want to like wear their pajamas? I'm not getting that vibe from this. I'm not getting that vibe from this character. We may be wrong, but if it doesn't have that type of impact, then the book isn't going to spike the way that others do on the list.
No, definitely not. And I mean, even if you're a Gwyneth Paltrow fan and your favorite movie is Shallow Hal, it's probably not going to be something you pick 10 copies of.
Oh, I love the Shallow Hal reference, man. All right, number 2 on the list. We got to talk about it. The Walking Dead 100. We have the second print Negan variant. A great example of just what time can do to a key comic.
Walking Dead number 100 had a ton of variants for the regular cover, and there was a chromium one, and there was this one, there was that one, and there was like
they still sell pretty well too. That's a big moment in this run.
A lot of them do, and then there was the second print with Negan just standing there, and then there was the third print that was part of Negan holding Lucille with all of the ones that go across. Super.
How many did we get of that? Like 10.
A ton of them. I mean, I went crazy and bought a bunch of them because I knew Negan and Lucille, and this was back when they were new on the shelf. I was selling all of them, and this number 2, the second print, is just a really, really cool book. In 2015 winter, it was selling for $350 and 9.8. Now it's under $50.
Oh, $50. But what did we see this year happen? We saw major characters leave the show. We have a lot of uncertainty from the community. Robert Kirkman thinks that this show is going to go for another decade. He thinks AMC has no other show that can compete. So, you know, if you're listening to Kirkman, you know, these may still have long-lasting, you know, long-term value.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And understand that right now I just got an email from Skybound Entertainment talking about the countdown to the next season of Walking Dead. So this may just be the calm before the storm, or it may be the end of the storm.
Interesting stuff. I have another comic book to chat about an artist that may be seeing maybe the end of the storm.
Yeah, this is kind of unfortunate. Coming in at number 1, Gamora number 2, the Francesca Matina variant. And I remember, I mean, this is a few months ago that Tom and I were talking about how great it was, and this guy was coming out of nowhere. And a lot of these covers that we had seen in the past, the Gamora #2 Matina variant, we didn't know, and it was selling for $900 in a 9.8.
It's nice that we have I think it's fun when we're recording these videos because there's this little bit of a record that we have of experiencing that happening. Like this book surprised us all.
Right.
We're like, wait a minute, there's $1,000 variant. Like, this is why you got to keep up on this stuff, because this variant that you may have in your long box that you paid $50 for 2 years ago, $1,000, pay your mortgage right now, because stuff, changes. And this is one of those moments where we saw a once $900 9.8 book now going for $400.
Which still might be a lot.
But why?
Yeah, Tom, but the Matina Gate, the Copy Gate, the Cover Gate, whatever people want to refer to it as, we are seeing Francesca Matina. There's indisputable evidence of things that he is just copying and taking, Photoshop and laying over layers on other people, and at least give credit where credit's due. I know Greg Land had an issue a while ago where he kind of came out. Just be honest about it. I love Matina's art, and some of these things I'm looking at going, yep, that is very authentic and it's very good. But when we know that you're not, I mean, he's making a bad name for himself. And I really wish that he would come out and make a good statement and say, you know what, I screwed up. These and these and these I took from these people. I'm going to do something different. So a lot of these books we are just seeing dump. You've noticed we haven't mentioned Matina on the Hot 10 list in the last couple months. Man. It's been a while, and it is absolutely because of this copying thing. I still love the Gamora cover. I still think this is a beautiful book. It is attainable, but may not necessarily be something you want to put anything long-term into, especially with what's going on with this artist right now.
And I don't blame investors. I mean, you invest in these books. This book was a $900 book. How would you feel if tomorrow there's another artist says, oh, look at this, back in 2011, this random 1 in 25 cover I did, this character in the back literally is the same image of the whole cover. We have stuff like that happening on his covers, and I don't blame the market for being weary about these variants.
Always be careful of everything. One of Vanessa's first part-time jobs was at Enron, and she happens to have a piece of stock from Enron, and she has a nameplate that has her name on it working at Enron right before it exploded, and they told everyone's money. And so doesn't matter how high it is now, everything can fall.
We do appreciate your time, comic book community. We do hope that you take our advice with a grain of salt. We're here just to add some value, maybe some information to your collecting, if you're using our information to speculate or to just have fun and, enjoy the hobby. Whatever value you get from our videos, we hope you got that. We do appreciate you spending your time today. And we do appreciate comicbookinvest.com, CBSI, for putting together the Hot 10 list, but also putting the time in to keep track of some of these books that do have some changes in the market.
Thanks again for letting us entertain you. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below. And as always, geek responsibly.
Enough
said. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you shop for comics on eBay, remember you can hit the link below before you make your purchases, and rather than paying eBay the full fee that you would otherwise pay, we get half and you can help support the show. We put that money towards better equipment, we can edit more videos and make more content for you when you do. Thank you to all that participate by doing that. We appreciate the support.